In an age saturated with digital noise, one transmission stands apart, enigmatic, elusive, and whispered about in fringe circles, the Omega broadcast. Though not a formally recognized theory, it draws its conceptual roots from the Omega Conspiracy by I.D.E. Thomas, a theological work that links ancient biblical prophecy to modern UFO phenomena. This essay explores how the idea of a final broadcast, whether literal or symbolic, could represent humanity's last spiritual test, connecting ancient warnings to today's technological and ideological landscape. Published in 1986, the Omega Conspiracy posits that the Nephilim, mysterious beings mentioned in Genesis 6, were not mere mythic giants, but hybrid offspring of fallen angels and human women. According to Thomas, these beings were wiped out in the Great Flood, but their return is prophesied as part of Satan's final assault on humanity. Key claims from the book include, UFOs are not extraterrestrial, but manifestations of spiritual deception. The sons of God in Genesis 6 are fallen angels who corrupted humanity. The Nephilim represent a hybrid race that threatens divine order. Modern sightings and abductions may be precursors to a spiritual invasion. This framework sets the stage for interpreting the Omega broadcast as a metaphorical or literal transmission heralding this final deception. Genesis 6:1-4 describes a cryptic union between the sons of God and daughters of men, resulting in the Nephilim, heroes of old, warriors of renown. Scholars like Dr. Peter Gentry argue that sons of God refers to angelic beings, not human descendants. This interpretation is supported by other biblical texts, Job 1:6, Jude 6:7, which describe divine beings overstepping their bounds and facing judgment. The Nephilim, translated in the Septuagint as gigantes, are seen as a symbol of spiritual rebellion. Their reappearance in post-flood texts, for example Numbers 13:33, suggests a lingering threat, one that Thomas believes will culminate in a final confrontation. In today's world, artificial intelligence and surveillance technologies have become omnipresent. Some theorists argue that AI is being positioned as a digital god, capable of generating spiritual messages, guiding beliefs, and even simulating religious experiences. Concerns include AI-generated prophets and synthetic spiritual guides, deepfakes that could simulate divine apparitions or prophetic warnings, virtual reality ascension experiences that mimic enlightenment but trap users in algorithmic illusions. These developments echo biblical warnings about false prophets and deceptive signs in the last days, Matthew 24:24. The Omega broadcast in this context could be a metaphor for the final wave of spiritual misinformation, disguised as revelation. The convergence of ancient prophecy, modern technology, and ideological fragmentation makes the Omega broadcast more than a myth. It's a lens through which we can examine the erosion of truth in the digital age, the rise of synthetic spirituality and algorithmic belief systems, the potential for global deception through media, AI, and psychological manipulation. Whether literal or symbolic, the idea of a final broadcast, one that tests humanity's discernment, feels increasingly plausible.